Kenya is at it again. The people of Kenya are one of the least aggressive people you ever find anywhere in the world until they've had enough, and they've had just enough with the police and the government of their country. You see, same month last year, on 18th June 2024, there was a similar massive finance bill protest in Nairobi that went on for one whole week and saw nearly 23 people dead. Several people were injured, and government institutions, including parliament, came under attack. This is repeating itself, ladies and gentlemen. This time, it's over the custodial death of a blogger by name Albert Ojwang. Albert is like us. He does what we do. He speaks truth to the powers that be. And that, ladies and gentlemen, got him taken by Kenyan police on June 6, 2025 for allegedly posting false information about the Deputy Inspector General of Kenya's police, Eliud Legat. So he was taken and transferred over 300 kilometers to Nairobi's Central Police Station. And while he was still in the custody of the police department, he died the following day. A forensic report contradicts the initial claim by the police that he died out of hitting his own head to the cell walls. In fact, the post-mortem report rather showed that he died of severe head injuries, evidence of neck compression, and of multiple soft tissue injuries across his whole body. Therefore, it's obvious it wasn't death by suicide, ladies and gentlemen. And so yesterday, 25th of June, thousands of Kenyans of all ages demonstrated across 23 of Kenya's 47 counties, ladies and gentlemen. This is the fourth violent protest happening under the presidency of President Ruto. He was elected on August of 2022, and since that time, in March of 2023, there was a protest against high cost of living, which saw the death of one university student. Then there was the infamous finance bill unrest in June of 2024. Following that was the abduction and femicide protest in December of 2024. And then this current one has been one disaster followed after a disaster under President William Ruto, a man in whose campaign was seen as the people's leader, but now most disliked president in Kenya. In fact, in last year's demonstration during their protest, the youth were insisting on his resignation before they would end the demonstration. It's just weird how quick a supposed good man has turned into an enemy of the people. As we speak now, ladies and gentlemen, 16 people are confirmed dead, mostly by police gunfire, and over 400 severely injured. Government institutions, including Kenya's parliament and the state house, are heavily barricaded by police and the military for fear of seeing the repetition of last year's unrest. Meanwhile, Albert is dead. He died at 31 years old. Ladies and gentlemen, almost everyone in Kenya right now is angered by this incident. The police took the law into their own hands on the orders of the Deputy Inspector General of the Kenyan Police and caused this. This is definitely caused by police assault and not a suicide death, ladies and gentlemen. This incident, coupled with poor governance and economic hardship in Kenya, is what's flaring up the people. Kenya is experiencing its biggest economic challenges in years. And this started even before President Ruto took office some 3 years ago. It has been an issue of national debt. Kenya's debt to GDP ratio is over 70%, with high repayments due to loans from China and the Eurobond and from the local economy. So the biggest chunk of revenue in the country goes into servicing loans. That's why they brought in that finance bill last year to raise money to service loans. Last year, Kenya faced serious liquidity pressure with debt servicing, which caused their currency, the Kenyan shilling, to lose between 25 to 30% of its value against the US dollar. This made imports expensive and prices started to shoot up. Kenya is suffering from what the previous government of Ghana took us through: excessive borrowing and investing the borrowed monies into non-productive projects, which caused the downfall of our local currency. This is the exact playbook President Ruto is either following or experiencing as a result of bad financial practices of the previous regime. But today, ladies and gentlemen, Ghana seems to have figured it out under a new administration, even though it's still early to conclude. This type of economic situation can be resolved under an introduction of an enterprise that will bring new stream of revenue into the Kenyan economy. This is not about contracting more loans to settle previous loans. No, it's about the government looking for a new source of revenue from within without resorting to taxes. This is what the government of Ghana is doing. That's helping our economy. And I'll share that with you, ladies and gentlemen. They are implementing a mining law that allows the government of Ghana to buy 20% of gold mined in Ghana from all large-scale gold companies or miners with our local currency and then sell it on the international market for the US dollars. It is working alongside a strict financial discipline. Ladies and gentlemen, this has within 3 months appreciated the Ghana cedis between 35 to 37% against the US dollars. And just because the cedi appreciated, we have saved more than $14.6 billion in loans. Kenya, you need an in-house plan to generate income for the state, or else you will perpetually end up in the circle of contracting loans and contracting more loans to service previous loans. As of early this year, Kenya's official central bank gold reserves are just 0.02 tons, which is equivalent to 20 kilograms, valued at 169 Kenyan shillings or $1.3 million. This is a joke. Your mining sector currently contributes only 1% to your GDP. This is the problem. You need to focus on gold, Kenya. The world can do away with many things, but not gold. And in these times of war, nothing is more valuable than gold. Paper money will burn, but gold will shine. And that's why the price of gold is at an all-time high right now. You have gold and titanium. Your government needs to invest in exploring for the gold in the land and nationalize them. There is no other way except for fiscal discipline and a significant generation of new income from within Kenya. I didn't say taxes. I said enterprise owned by the state. The irony, however, is this. You've elected a pure capitalist person as president. He does not believe in nationalizing state resources. I'm talking about President Ruto. He's about free market and taxes. He's not cut out from the world of the AES. So I wonder the plans he has as solutions from now till next elections in August of 2027. The frustration against Kenya's president and the economy isn't peculiar to Kenya, ladies and gentlemen. It's happening everywhere in Africa. High unemployment among the youth has become the biggest threat to Africa's peace. Millions of graduates are jobless. The public sector is choked and occasionally opened to those who know people at the very top. The private sector is stagnant for the fact that the purchasing power of the people are so low, ladies and gentlemen. Even when new products make their way to the markets, we don't patronize them as much as we should because salaries are low on this part of the world. And therefore, purchasing power is low. We are the continent that spends the least in the world. The vast majority of us live below $2.15 per day. This cannot help our continent, ladies and gentlemen. The entire GDP of Africa is less than the GDP of Germany. The entire GDP of Africa is less than the GDP of France. We are equivalent to the size of Italy as a continent in terms of GDP. This is a major problem. We spend so small and we spend largely on cheap products. Meanwhile, we are sitting on trillions of natural mineral reserves. Ladies and gentlemen, all over Africa, it's square pegs in round holes. Those who have ideas are not interested in politics, and those in politics have no ideas. Kenya is one of Africa's greats, and this is how bad the economy is doing right now. How much more the others? Ladies and gentlemen, if African leaders don't seek counsel outside their political parties and look into other areas and ideas of developing our economies, one day, all black Africa will flare up in a demonstration against every one of them. Just when the economy is having its challenges and the people don't know what to do in Kenya, that's when the police chooses to add insult to injury. The Deputy Inspector General of Police of Kenya must be investigated alongside the officers who arrested our brother. Justice must be served. Albert's family must be compensated. Somebody must go to jail, ladies and gentlemen, and the rule of law must be upheld. My condolences goes to the family, and thanks for taking time to watch today's video. Be kind to share this video and subscribe to watch more of my videos. I'll see you in the next one. God bless Kenya and bless this continent of Africa. It is bye-bye for now.